Hey guys, welcome to With Intention. Thanks for being here, John Giganti. We're about to interview Pat Samanich. Pat is the Dean of Students at New Albany High School, and he's also the former football coach here, high school football coach. Great guy, amazing leader. I gotta tell you guys, he's one of the most inspiring people I've ever met, one of the hands down best leaders that I've ever come across. So I'm excited to talk to him. Let's go check it out.
You talk a lot about we're finished, what it really looks like. It's that little extra that your opponent's not willing to do or your competition's not willing to do.
When I think about what I know about you, you're probably one of the most inspirational leaders I know, and people I know. So,
thank you for that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it makes sense. I usually don't print something off, but I wanted to just recap some stats because I think it's important. So,
right.
Dean of Students now at New Albany High School back here, but you spent many years on this field, and that locker room and these sidelines coaching. How many years?
So 25 total years of coaching,
okay.
And that spanned 2 stints at universities and 2 different high schools. At New Albany High School, I was a total of 18 years. We started on that sideline over there, which is the middle bleachers when it was Division 5. And then as the population grew and everybody started moving in, we became a Division II school and really experienced that growth from the year 2000 to last year. 2017 season was my final season before I wanted to take a break, get into something new, and had an opportunity with administration. A possibility came up, and it really spoke to me, and I think God had an obvious hand in it.
So Dean of Students,
right.
Newly created role.
Right.
What is it? What do you do?
So the Dean of Students is essentially an assistant principal.
Okay.
It's just I don't do teacher evaluations. And what's really cool about it is I still teach 2 classes, and so I'm still in the classroom for 2 periods, which I love. But what I really love is I'm interacting with so many more students on a daily basis. We got 1,600 kids here at the high school, and I'm really starting to enjoy meeting all ages, all shapes, all sizes, and it's really brought just a really a jolt of energy to me professionally, which I'm really excited about.
I know in our conversations, your leadership philosophy to me is what really stands out, and it's really, I think, a system of and a disciplined approach. I call it mindset, right? And how you go about your work and your play and whatever it is. So talk a little bit about
and man, that's a quick question, but we could be here. We could be here for hours. And I love it because, anywhere you go, you're going to find people talking about leadership and reading about leadership. And it's really, number one, first and foremost, you got to understand that, you can't be afraid to make tough decisions. That's why you get a dog, right? My dog's going to like me when I get home no matter what, as long as I feed Penny. But there's going to be times when you have to have tough decisions and tough conversations with people, because we all want to be great and we all want to be successful and we all want to win. Absolutely. I want to win in the classroom. I want to win at life. I want to win at home. I want to win on the field, right? But it goes behind the scenes, or what are you prepared to do? And I was fortunate enough, not to pat myself on the back, but to be able to have conversations with some mentor coaches back then. And really kind of, it hit me that we needed to really define, like you talk about, define what we believe and how we're going to go about doing it. And again, let's instill that into our kids. And it really starts with, you talk about a mission statement. Why am I in the business of education and coaching? Well, ultimately, when you really sit down and break it all down, you forget the noise. It's to benefit kids, right? It's to make a young man not only successful on the field and in the classroom, but more importantly, when he leaves here, that he takes the best of Coach Giganti and the best of Coach Samanich and the best of Coach Finn and the best of Coach Kedwell, and you pack that all together and you have that positive influence. So when he's out on his own, developing his habits and his DNA, we call it, and making those life decisions, that he has something to revert back to, some core values. And so we always talk the word we used a lot in practice was finish. Finish that drill, right? Finish that sprint. You talk a lot about we're finished, what it really looks like. It's that little extra that your opponent's not willing to do or your competition's not willing to do.
We talk about it all the time in the corporate world, right? I mean, it's not just high school. I think it's in life. You got to act that way, right? That mindset. So Bill Walsh wrote a book, The Score Takes Care of Itself.
Yeah.
Obviously, Bill Walsh, right? 49ers coach.
Yep.
So, and I was fascinated by what Walsh said is we never looked at the scoreboard there. There were games they would lose, but if they were doing everything right, sometimes you just get beat because the other team's just better. I think it's, even in the business world, we talk a lot about process versus outcomes, and actually our companies, we're in sales, we're going to a more process-driven approach, as opposed to, hey, you just have a sales quota or you're trying to grow revenue.
That's uncomfortable, right?
It's very uncomfortable.
I always had that number I had to go get.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? That's what, but it's so easy for me to be able to try and have that conversation with kids because, you know, you talk about the process and results, and football was such a process and results basis, and it was always we had short-term goals. Our short-term goal every Monday was to go 1-0. And what that did was no matter if you won or lost, you hit the reset button, and now you focus on your short-term goal going 1-0.
Just that week, 1-0 that week.
That's all you're focused on. Keep it tunnel vision, put your head down, you're focused on how am I going to go 1-0 today at practice?
Yeah.
How am I going to just win today, right? That's such a easy thing to say. But honestly, think about it. If every employee, if every leader comes in to whatever organization that you're about, right, and you're passionate about, and you say, let's win today. What does that look like? And that means, let me give my undivided attention to this client right now, and not be thinking about the next deal or the next client. You know, be there for someone. And if we can all do that and have that same vision, and again, we're talking about leadership, right? We've got to have a goal. Leaders have to create the vision, right? They've got to create it collectively, you know, but put it out there. And here's our plan of how we're going to go attack this to be able to accomplish our goal, to accomplish our mission, accomplish that vision. You know what I mean? Get everybody on the same page. That's when the magic happens, man. Win today. You know, our seniors, we give, I left my coin inside, daggone it, but we give a finished coin to them at the banquet, and it's a special. You don't get it as a freshman, you don't get it as a sophomore. You got to go through the program to get it. Yeah. And you go through it, and our kids really hold true to the value of it. I've get so many alum that, you know, that'll text a picture. You know, coach, got my coin today. I got a big job interview. You know what I mean? It's a trigger.
Sure.
Right. It's a trigger. I always call it. You know, it's one of those. You know, I'm at home, man. I got to cut the grass today. Maybe, you know. Now all of a sudden I see my finished coin. I'm like, daggone it, I got to get up and cut the grass, you know what I mean? So
of course.
It calls you out, you know what I mean? Because finish never stops.
Yeah.
What does finish look like being a good father, right? It's when you have the baby and you're up 3 o'clock at night and your wife is exhausted and you're up. You know you've got to get up in 3 more hours, but you're up, you know, so she can sleep. You know what I mean? It's the sacrifice that goes into it, and being a father and being a good family man. So hopefully that's what my guys got.
Yeah.
You know, I surrounded themselves with, I think, some phenomenal staff members, some coaches that I learn from daily. You know, I think the best thing about being a leader, one, be a servant leader, and being willing to be able to, step out in front. You know, when it's needed, when the heat needs to be on, take the heat.
That's key. Yeah.
You know, I think being a servant leader and being selfless is the best way to do it. But also, you got to have courage and be able to stand up and not take it personal. Right?
And that's a key point too, because sometimes to serve as a leader, if you have a team, sometimes you got to call someone out.
Right.
It's truth and love. If you're doing it from the heart and the right way, authentically.
Right.
I've had plenty of those situations, and I'm not a conflict guy. I don't just naturally like it, but I find that the more I lead from the heart and have meaningful conversations, not necessarily call someone out and shame them. It's not about that. No. It's about, look, I want what's best for you. I see potential in you.
Absolutely.
Let me share with something that I'm seeing, and without fail, every single time, it leads to something pretty cool.
It leads to growth. What I'm astonished every day is with kids that'll come in and just willing to work, which is great, and that just gives you that youthful energy and youthful hope of great things for the future. You know?
So you're seeing that in the school now.
I hope so.
To me, it's you're going 1-0 each day at school, right? Or each interaction in the classroom with a student or with a teacher.
And again, it goes back to our R factor guys, right? E plus R equals O. You know what I mean? It's when I want to go 1-0 with a situation, that it's going to be what's that outcome that I want, and that determines my response.
Okay, so let's dive into that, because you guys, that's a framework that you're putting into play at the school.
Sure. So
what's the R factor?
You know, fortunately, my next door neighbor a few years ago, really smart guy, invited me to a conference in Westerville, and it was hearing Tim Kite speak on the R factor. Okay. That was one of those aha moments when you and I went and saw Tim sit there and speak, because the simplicity and clarity of it, it's so simple, but man, once you dive in, it can get really deep. Yeah. But the beauty is in the simplicity, and it's a system that we talk about all the time of, you know, how to attack adversity. Every single day, our kids, we talk to them about you having events happening. A class can be an event, right? A testing is an event. An interaction on social media is an event. Sure. We're so emotional, right? We are so emotional people. I'm guilty of it too, is be able to respond without thinking, right? Just be able to. And then sometimes you wish, boy, I wish I could take that response back. I wish I could take those words back, because the outcome might have been negative towards someone or hurt somebody, or, you know, and that's definitely, once you press pause, which we'll talk about, and reflect, That's obviously not the outcome that we wanted. So it's really trying to be intentional, right? It's trying to be intentional how we attack the day, how we attack the week. It's happening in every single building.
Yeah.
So now every building, from the ELC, which is your kindergarten, preschool, to your intermediate, primary, to your middle school, to high school, they're all talking the same vocabulary,
same language. It's
right?
huge.
So by the time Caroline gets to the high school and she's dealing with the teacher, and the teacher says, Caroline, what's the outcome you want right now? What's your response? What's your R right here? Or press pause. It's one of the disciplines. Press pause right now. Get your mind right, all right? Now you got your mindset, that's where we need to be. You've determined what's the outcome that you want. Now you know your R, you've labeled it, you've determined it, and now step up and do it.
Thank you, man. I'm
Brother,
looking forward to hearing about and seeing the impact.
It's fun.
Really appreciate you taking
I
the
can't
time.
thank you enough, and let's do it again, volume
Absolutely.
2.0. Soon.
Absolutely.
All right?
Thanks, man.
Thanks, Josh.
All right, thank you so much for watching. I don't know about you, but I loved what Pat had to say. He talked about finishing, he talked about relentless effort, he talked about the R factor, and really taking whatever happens to you, whatever adversity, and really taking the mindset of press and pause and responding. I think there's a lot of good nuggets you can take away with. So thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoy it. We'll talk to you soon.